And in a new development around matters LGBT, the Supreme Court of Kenya has ruled that the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ community have the right to association. The judgment now means that the NGO's board's decision to deny homosexuals the right to form recognized groups was discriminatory. The
LGBTQ movement is a community that has fought to be accepted and recognized in the community for the past years. In our segment today, we get to dive deeper into the problems LGBTQ community have been facing and how they're trying to fight back.
LGBTQIA+ is a very sensitive topic and is a topic which people choose to view it from different perspectives. People choose to view it as if it's a lobby group. People choose to view it as if we are outcast, as if they're aliens. But in reality, if you look at LGBTQIA+ community, these are just human beings. Not more than 8% of the human population. So you can imagine if the world is at 7 billion, 7.5 billion, so 8% of that, we are literally a few hundred million. So I don't know why they're always seemed as if they're coming to take over the world, that they are aliens who are coming to disrupt the running of the society or anything. So the topic that is at hand right now is how LGBTQI+ community, how they face the backlash. So you come and tell someone that you don't deserve to be alive, you deserve to be imprisoned. The recent Supreme Court ruling on the LGBTQIA+, on their rights of association, that they should be allowed to register, whether it's a non-governmental organization or anything, that they have the right to associate and to register anything that they want to register. You know, Kenyans took it wrong. They took the information wrong because it wasn't a matter of legalizing homosexuality in the country. It is a matter of association, which is it's in the Constitution of Kenya since it was amended in 2010. And so you can actually go and read from Article 15, you can read Article 36, you can read Article 45. When it talks about the state or the structure of a family, at Article 45, it talks about the mother, father, children, normal article. But again, at Article 36, it talks of inclusivity and right to association. So if you look at these articles, in my own opinion, I'd say that the Constitution needs to be reviewed. It needs to be amended again, because clearly we use one sector we use one point to demystify another point, which is clearly not making sense as a constitution.
A 2018 report by the National Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission, NGLHRC, estimated that there are approximately 2.7 million LGBTQIA+ people in Kenya, which is about 6% of the country's population.
Because it's supposed to lay out the grounds, it's supposed to actually make things to be clear, because the Constitution is what the Supreme Court used to make the judgment. So they followed it to include that they can actually associate with people. So the moment as a country, we tend to start throwing tantrums and saying that the Supreme Court is actually supporting it, that the country is supporting it. That's not the case. They're only supporting, they want them to be associated. That's a right of any human being in the country. So I have a little bit knowledge of law, so as I've stated, it's my opinion. So it's not something that I can say, but I've read through the judgment. Like people have read through it, and you've seen many politicians coming up and saying that this one needs to be reviewed. They need to go back to the Supreme Court and nullify it, which you can't do that, because actually it's the highest court in land. So if you want to go and fight it back, it's going to be a whole process. Let's first start with the Constitution as a country. Let's get referendum, let's get thoughts. Because if you look at Ireland, how did they legalize homosexuality? It wasn't passed by the houses, by the upper chambers. They did a referendum in the whole country, and it passed by 69%. So clearly, people don't have a problem with it, but how it's paraded, how the media propagates it appears as if it's an agenda.
In 2019, the Kenya High Court upheld the criminalization of same-sex sexual activity despite efforts by LGBTQ+ activists and organizations to decriminalize homosexuality in Kenya.
And second, LGBTQ is a storm. So if you think that you can just wake up and fight it, then I think you are already wrong as a country, because it's something which you won't stop. So you either get ways to mitigate, how are you going to avoid it if you don't want to associate with it, or are you going to go through the storm, of which you will die if you go through the storm, of course, or are you going to anchor down in the ocean and say that we're actually going to wait here, the storm to pass, it won't, because this is a force. Over the recent years, I can say that we've actually grown. Even in Kenya, like Nairobi alone, I can say we are more than 1 million. In general, as I conclude, I'd say that the LGBTQ community has gone through a lot of transformation.
And other unnatural acts, as well as the promotion of such acts. Under Kenyan laws, same-sex conduct is illegal.